Hello, hello, hello. It's Nancy Johnson with Sunday's Best, minding your business. I trust that you've had a great long 4th of July weekend and that you're going to wind down this last or part of the last few hours with me tonight. I'm Nancy Johnson. I'm a local realtor. If you have not been on Sunday's Best, I've been the host of Sunday's Best for the past 7 years. I am a realtor. I'm an investor. I'm a wealth building coach. I'm an author of 2 books. And I help people get their keys. I have the Key Club. Hello, Olivia. So I'm glad you can see me. Hello, Gloria. And Gloria and Olivia, post your dollar signs if you were able to pay yourself even $5 this pay period. All right? Every dollar counts. Every dollar counts. All right. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So I know you 2 ladies were on last week, but before I go into tonight's lesson or tonight's session, hey, let's see. We got somebody else on here. But anyway, before I go into it, I just want to remind you that last week we talked about words do matter and words have power. And the conversation that you're having within your circle does matter. All right. And we said some of the words. Hey, Lily James, thank you for joining us again this week. And we did say, Lily, Olivia, and Gloria, that words like asset, protection, financial knowledge, generational wealth, equity, net worth, compound interest, and ROI, return on investment. All of these are, hey, Gwen Map, all of these are words that, my question to you, have you spoken to anybody at all, or have you listened to anyone on a podcast or webinar or on YouTube that mentioned any of these words since you heard them last Sunday? So it's very important that what you, who you have in your ear and what goes in and out of your ear and what you can use. Hey, Gloria Cooper. So again, the words, my question is, have you had a conversation or been around or heard anything to do with asset protection, financial knowledge, generational wealth, equity, net worth, compound interest, or return on any savings that you have? So that was what we talked about last week. Now, I'm going to give a disclaimer, and I wanted to give it with more people on, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. What I am sharing tonight, hey, Diane Jackson, what I'm sharing tonight, Diane, may not be for everybody. And we just had fireworks for 4th of July, and this is a hot topic because all of us are guilty of it, of one part of what I'm going to talk about. But my disclaimer is not everybody is doing bad. A lot of people have got their stuff together, and God bless them and help those who are trying to get there. So my disclaimer is not everybody's doing bad. Some people are blessed. Those blessed people are usually people that are disciplined, responsible, accountable, persistent, insistent, and committed to managing their money. And they've been committed for a long time at an early age. Not all of us have had that privilege. So when I'm talking to you tonight, know that I'm talking to you and I'm talking to me, and I'm not talking down to anybody, but I'm lifting up those people who have really got their act together already And that is good because everybody needs to be able to live good in life and not, go through life suffering. And there are a lot of people that are suffering. But we're going to talk about tonight a couple of things. Why is the road so hard? Why do we have so many excuses? And who do we need to forgive? And who do we need to reach out to? And who do we need to stop blaming? Right, Martha Logan? All right, so Gloria Moore, Diane, Gloria Cooper, Olivia, Lily, and I may have missed somebody. But anyway, we're going to talk about excuses in life tonight. And the other part of what we're going to talk about is, again, poor money management. So let the fireworks begin. This, like I said, I'm not trying to knock anybody. There are a lot of people that are doing well. So, you might say, well, Nancy, why do you keep drilling us on the same thing? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because there are only 3% of people in the world that are considered wealthy. So that leaves 97% of us that are not wealthy. Well, there's got to be some big differential. And a lot of times the easiest escape for us is to blame somebody or to give in our blame, we're making an excuse. But President George Washington had this to say. He said 99% of failures come from people who make excuses often. 99% of failures come from people who make excuses often. So that's huge, you guys. That's really huge. But let me tell you something. Excuses don't excuse. They just delay. Excuses don't excuse. They just delay. You're procrastinating. I'm procrastinating. They're procrastinating. But there are some people that they mind their business and they get it done. They don't make excuses. And we're going to talk about a list of excuses shortly. And we're also going to talk about what poor money habits should you simply drop. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. There's some things that you need to change if you want to be on the other side of change. And if you want to be one of the persons that is not making excuses. And here's something I heard, and I totally 100% endorse it. That we've got to stop with all the excuses of why we don't have. Yeah, there's categories of the haves and the have-nots. But if 99% of the people who fail are the ones that make excuses, then we got to develop a better habit in knowing and doing what is right versus making an excuse because it's a scapegoat. Right, Vivian? Right? Let's see. London, Rainy, Summers is on. Gwen Mapp. And I've already called out the others of you. So again, stop with all the excuses. Stop with the blame game. Think about it. Even if somebody's holding you down, are you going to stop trying to break free? No. So the same thing. I know that everything in life is not fair. It's far from fair. But we cannot let any and every excuse that we can't make it. They can make it, but we can't because somebody's holding us down. Like I said, if somebody was holding you down, you would try to escape. You would try to break free. You would try to fight back. I mean, a normal person would. And so, um, again, we got to break free from what we know that's harming us and not helping us. Some families, now remember I said, all of us are not in the same boat. Some people are doing extremely well and they deserve the luxuries in life. They deserve to live the life they want to live, or that they feel they deserve to live, or they've worked so hard to live. But there are other families on the other side that we're addressing our children in luxury and operating our house on a shoestring budget. We're letting them have any and everything their hearts desire. And why am I starting with that? Because a lot of what your children practice is what they see. A lot of what your children will get used to in life and think that they are entitled to are the things that you sacrifice, your family, you and your spouse, or you as a single parent sacrifice to get your children or your grandchildren. Think about this. Children, we buy them so many toys. And you might ask the question, well, what do you want for Christmas? And then you're going to get more than that. No matter what that one item costs, you'll find a way to get at least two little things for them in addition to that. But you go, that's December to January, that they'll probably, these are kids under 5. And if they're not a techie gadget, they're going to play with that ball. They're going to play with that car. They're going to play with that doll for probably a month. Then they're going to throw it in a corner. And when the birthday comes, we repeat the same thing. We buy more stuff. And so some families are dressing the children in luxury, operating the house off of a shoestring budget, but the kids are starving financial literacy because we're not adding or showing them the cost of things. And so that's why we have to keep starting over in life as adults all the time, because it starts at home. It starts at home. If you don't teach your children any better, not that they're going to always follow what you tell them to do. Some will, some won't. So what? You can't stop. And so if you start them off with thinking that they can have any and everything they desire, you never have the family money talk, that family meeting. You don't know what the goals are. They don't know what the goals are. The kids are just thinking, we got it like that. And they have it like that at your expense. When they're 2 years old, they got everything except financial literacy. When they're 21 to 23 years old, they got a good education, but still no financial literacy. All right? So they come out of school at 21, 23 years old with $150,000 student loan debt, right, Sandra? And then we think they're supposed to go on, be successful. But they don't have what they need. They're not armed with financial literacy. And so that toy gets put in the corner. And it has been said that we, baby boomers, and the generation right under us, it says that we are raising the best dressed children in any generation, but the least educated when it comes to finance. And we wonder, why is the gap getting wider? Well, it's getting wider because of the choices we make as parents. So what's the cure? What What's your excuse? What should not be an excuse from now on? We're going to go through a list of things. So we want to say less stuff, buy less stuff as for our children, our grandchildren, as adults, buy less stuff and learn more about investing and preparing for your life. We want to teach our children how to earn income. We want to make sure they understand how to save income. And we definitely want to make sure they know how to invest their income. So not just, two little kids, I saw an example, two little kids said, our parents said, we don't have a lot of money, but Amazon stops at our house almost every day. And I heard my dad say, I heard my mom say, your dad's got a payment, a truck payment that we can't even afford. And then I see that food's being delivered from, I forgot the name of the company they said, almost every week, a couple of times a day, we're getting food delivered. So if you are saying one thing and doing another thing, but then expect your child to do the right thing, we got to wake up. We got to stop with the excuses. No, we don't get our children in our business and say, I make $100,000, I make $50,000, or we got 50 in the bank and we're trying to get 75 there. There's certain things that you don't tell and you don't share. But if you live in a life or live in a lie in front of your children and they think, you got it made, therefore they have it made, they're going to feel entitled. They're going to feel entitled. All right. Hey, Vicky, and I believe I saw Pastor Jamal as well. So again, loading the kids up with toys, the kids even want a pair of Nikes. They know what the latest Nike sneaker shoe is or should look like. Do you ever see babies or young children walking around with a pair of Nikes that are basically torn up? No, they don't wear them that long. A new phone comes out, they want it. A new pair of Nike sneakers come out, they want it. And if they see every time a new one comes out, you have it, then you're setting the tone or setting the expectation to the fact that we can afford it. All right? I don't think kids do chores anymore. If they had to save for some of these things, it would be a little bit different. So what's the cure? What can we do so that we don't have every generation starting over every single time? And remember, President George Washington said 99% of failure comes from people who make excuses. So let's talk about a few of these excuses. And I heard two messages today, and one was talking about excuses, and I was like, oh, they all in my stuff. And I got stuff to add to it from the messages. And the other one was talking about responsibility. And we are responsible. So a responsible person, or a person that takes responsibility seriously, they don't make excuses. They don't look to lay the blame on anybody. So let's talk about some common excuses that prevent people from getting ahead. Now, you might want to write a few of these down. Some common excuses that prevent people from getting ahead. And the message that I heard today from Pastor Jamal was Like the man wanted to get to the well, he wanted to get healed. He wanted to get to the water, but he kept saying, they keep getting in front of me. Well, you know what? There's a lot of room at the top. People are always going to try to get in front of you in some form or fashion. But you have to let your perseverance and your persistence and your desire to get that thing done more than counting the people that are ahead of you, and show up over and over and over again. I don't know if all of you know, but the first job that I got, I was at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it was in January because I started the job February 3rd, 1969, and it was pouring rain. And I had to change buses, and somebody left a piece of newspaper, and I had a press and curl, so I put that newspaper on my head, and I must have looked a hot mess opening that door. But when I opened the door, it was only the receptionist there, and she called for the lady and said I was there for an interview. And the lady, and she came out, and she said, who in the world? I thought nobody would come today. And then she said, well, you could start with a typing test. And I leaned over and I said, I don't know how to type. She said, go in there and do something. And I did that, and I got hired on the spot. I could have talked myself out of by giving that excuse, but I didn't make it as an excuse. I was honest with her. And that led into me working for Blue Cross of Connecticut for 11 years, and in South Carolina, another 8.5 years. So excuses don't excuse. They delay, but they don't excuse. So here are some common excuses that people use, and I think we've always used these. Number one, I don't have enough money to get started. How much money does it take? You haven't even researched what it is you're going to start. You haven't written a business plan. You haven't looked at options. Is there a grant available? Is there somebody I can follow as an apprentice to find out how this thing really works before I jump straight on into it? So number one is I don't have enough money to get started. Well, that could be an excuse. It could be true, but it could also be false. All right? You talk to the right people, get some direction, follow up on some things. You can open up a world of possibilities and some money. Number two, I don't have enough time. Well, you know what? We got the same amount of time. It all depends on what we do with it. Pastor Jamal says, yes, people count themselves out before they even start. That's right. If you don't believe you can do it, you're already lost. You're already lost. And I don't want you on my team if that's the kind of attitude that you're going to bring. All right. Number three, I'll start later. Procrastination. Excuses don't make it start without you because you want to do it later. And remember, everything is not going to be done on your terms. I'll start later. Well, perhaps it needs to start now. I'll start later. Later may be too late. There's always a window of opportunity. And when a door opens, sometimes you got to run into it. Run inside. All right? Sometimes you have revolving doors. But number three of I'll start later. When is later? Is later going to get you the victory? Is later going to get the job done? Number four, I'm too old. I'm too old. All right? So who said that success had an age limit? Who said it? I was thinking about this week, about excuses. and about age. And I said, you know what? Some of the most prestigious awards, and Sandra Bolton, you can attest to that. Marie, Olivia, and I think some of you maybe were here when I got some of these awards. But some of the most prestigious awards that I've gotten, the most outstanding awards I've gotten, I got them after age 70. After age 70. All right? So don't let age stop you. As they say, and Vivian and I always say, age ain't nothing but a number. All right? And it can be a great number if you don't give up and if you don't make it an excuse or allow age to be your excuse. Number 5, I'm too young. I have to do that when I'm closer to 45 or 50. You know, we have ages for when we want to get married, age, and it varies for different people. Ages for when we want to have children, ages by which we want to have our degrees, ages for when we want to make a 6-figure income. And so too young, you know, there's some things, I mean, if you never ran a marathon and you're 80 years old and you want to run a marathon, you got to do a lot more preparation than if you'd been running track all your life or walking all your life. But there's no one to say that an 80-year-old can't do it. Now, there's certain things that are more risk than others with age. But most of the time, we say we're too old. But in this instance, think of something that you may be too young to do. Maybe too young to retire. But we're looking at excuses. And number 6, I don't know enough. Does anybody? Nobody knows 100% about everything. Okay? So what's the next move? Instead of an excuse, if you don't know enough, what do you do? What do you do? An excuse is not going to change it. All right? So, number 7, successful people are just lucky. We've got some successful people on this line, and I think that we would beg to differ with you. Successful people are disciplined, they're hardworking, they believe in themselves, they know they add value, and they get up off their do-nothing and do something. It's not, they may get a break, they may get an uncommon blessing, but just to say successful people are always lucky people, no. Some people have to encounter a lot of no's in order to get one yes. And research, yeah, you have to do your research. And Val says, as long as you have breath in your body, all things are possible. No excuses. Exactly, Val. Exactly. Number 8. My family never taught me about money. That's not new news. Very few of us on here have been taught about money. Now, my cousin Gloria, that's on here, Gloria Cooper, her parents always taught them about money. And just by being like a fly on the wall, or being around them so much, I learned a lot from her parents about being entrepreneurs and about not spending all the money that you get. All right, but that's number 8. So the fact that you were born broke doesn't mean that you die broke. It's the reverse. The fact that you were born broke, you should make it your business not to die broke. You don't have to repeat that twice. Number 9, I don't have the right connections is an excuse. But what do you do? When you know that since last week, I told you that somebody in your circle It should have been, well, here's a common one. I thought of this with my cousin Genevieve, who's traveling, but we usually say when we find a high yield certificate, we say which banks we need to check with and all of that. So I had a CD that matured, and my first inclination was, let me see what they would get at their bank. And so when you're in circle with people who add value, or the relationship adds value to your goals and your lifestyle and your family's welfare, and help you to protect what you've accumulated, then words like asset, words like equity, words like return on investment, you need to be having some kind of conversation, or somebody saying, I hear you want to open a hair salon. I just heard of somebody that wants to sell one. Or I hear that you're wanting to go back to school. Is there anything I can do to help you with that? All right? So if you're in conversation with people like that, that's a help to you. Number 10, on number 9, the excuse is I don't have the right connection. What's secure? Start seeking out different people and make the connection. Number 10, I'm afraid of failing. Well, I got news for you. You're failing if you're making excuses because you're not succeeding. And so one is the opposite of the other. But you can fail your way to success because you can do something 99 times and it fails. And at one time, 1 out of 100, you get it right or it succeeds, you would have quit too soon if you didn't try one more time. So don't be afraid of failing. If you fail, learn from it. And as Les Brown say, if you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. If you can look up, you can get up. If you don't try to get up and make an excuse, they knocked me down, then you're going to be down for the count. And after the 8 count in boxing, right, Pastor Jamal? After the 8 count, you don't come back to the center of the ring, right? You're just out. Somebody else won the fight. No matter how many rounds you won, in a count, you don't get back into the ring because you don't make the 8 count, you lost. So the fact that he knocked me down in round 1 and I tore him up in round 2, but you never made it off the floor in round 3, he still won the fight. Or she still won the fight. All right? Number 11. I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity. Have you ever heard somebody say, I don't want to do it yet, Ashton. The time is not right. Do they ever come back to you and say the time was right and I did that? No, most times they rather live with the lie. The opportunity was not right. I'm waiting for perfect. Perfect rarely happens. And so if you're waiting for perfect, it's a good excuse for failure. And Vivian says, Ashton says he's paid himself. And Vivian says we should learn even if we fail at something. Exactly. It was a learning opportunity. Number 12, someone else is responsible for fixing my situation. Now, you almost got to be, you got to be dumber than dumb to think that it's someone else, other than if you're a baby and it's your parents' job to take care of you. You know, you don't have to change your pamper. You don't have to make your own bottle of milk. You don't have to get up and turn on the light. You don't have to set an alarm. But anybody that's lived on this earth any length of time, anybody that's on this session tonight, you know within your heart of hearts that if you use this excuse, it's lame. Someone else is responsible for fixing my situation. No, 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 no. Number 13, it's too risky. Tell me something that's not risky. Laying down, going to sleep at night is risky. Getting in your car driving is risky. Eating dinner at a restaurant is risky. Leaving your home and planning to come back is risky. All right? So taking a calculated risk means, number one, you don't dismiss it or play the blame game and say it's someone else's responsibility, or they made me do it. They made me say it. And like we like to blame the devil for everything. Devil got enough of stuff going on. Plenty of stuff. We don't need to add an excuse. We need to not play the victim and get the victory. That's what we need to strive for. And so it's too risky. Everything has a risk to it. The more you learn about finance, the more you learn about investing, the less your risk. Okay? Number 14, I've made too many mistakes. Remember I said we got the have and the have-nots, and we got some people that learn about money early in life. They're blessed. They're blessed. But they're the exception rather than the rule. And most other people have to make mistakes unless you stop making excuses and go to the person that you think has information on what you need. Go to the person that has experience on what you need and ask them. Ask them. And most times people will share information with you. So to say I made too many mistakes, but you're still living. You're still breathing. So there's still a chance that you could get it right. And an excuse does not excuse. Excuse doesn't force somebody else to do it for you. Excuses just delay and make sure that you don't have success. Number 15, I deserve to enjoy all of my money today is an excuse that people use for not saving and not investing, Vicki. It's an excuse, Vivian. People say, they won't let me. I'm not the right color. I live on the wrong side of the track. They just won't let me. I can't leave an inheritance for my children and my children's children because they won't let me. I can't run the bases because they won't let me hit. I can't run the bases because I can't land on the base because they keep moving the base. Well, life changes. And a lot of times, I hate to tell you, it's going to change with or without you. So if you're not willing to make the shift, if you're not willing to find out new information, to stay in the game and play to win and lessen your risk, then you're going to always be full of excuses. So the takeaway from the list of excuses, and then I got one more thing for you tonight. The takeaway is everyone faces different circumstances, but consistent action, consistent learning, consistent saving, consistent planning, being persistent always help, but always having an excuse always hurts. So you want to do what always help you. And that starts at home with teaching your children about financial literacy, teaching your grandchildren about financial literacy up front. and you will have much more success. So the last 10 things, and I'm going to go through these very quickly. The role of parents in teaching children to build wealth. A lot of us on here, a few of us on here have children that are teens and younger, that are in high school or middle school. You have the opportunity to do what some of us may or may not have done. There are others of you on here that you did the right thing and you're doing well. Or you did the right thing and you had to regroup because life started to lifing. And even as much as you had saved, as many of the right things that you have done, you still got kind of taken out of the game called financial success. But you're not an excuse maker. You're going to win because you're going to keep trying. You're going to win because if you keep listening to me on Sunday's Best, I'm never going to say you can quit. You can just be a quitter. When I see that or I feel that you have succeeded, I'm going to encourage you. I'm still going to say keep going. I'm not going to say you're a quitter. I'm not going to say you won. You don't need to try at life anymore because I don't know what, and you don't know, and I don't know what lies down the road that you may need more than you thought you needed. So take this opportunity to teach your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. And I know most of you on here have grandchildren. And so we tend to buy them stuff. A kid, a 2-year-old with a pair of Nikes on, a 20-year-old with a pair of Nikes on, and never heard the word Nike stock. We got some teaching to do, right, Marva? We got some teaching to do. And thank you for the compliment on the red. So, number one, model good financial habits such as saving and budgeting and investing. As a parent, that's what you can do to help your child understand what wealth building is all about. Number two, shape a positive money mindset. You can say, we got to save some now, but we're going to take a great vacation. In about 2 years, we're going to get to Disney World, or we're going to get to New York, or we're going to get to the island. But it's going to take all of us working together. And that's that conversation that you can have around the dinner table, which most of us don't even sit at the dinner table together anymore. And if we do, everybody's on their phone. All right? So again, role models that parents can play. One can be not to be on your phone all the time at the table when you should be enjoying quality time with your family. Number three, teach delayed gratification. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 children under 15 have never heard of layaway. They know about having it their way, but they don't know about about delayed gratification. Number four, introduce the concept, the principles of budgeting, of saving, of investing to your children. Whether you have the money now or then when you do it, let them know at least that here's what our plan is. Number five, explain the difference between income and wealth. Big difference. Your kids see you go to work every day. Does that mean that they think, oh, well, we're wealthy? No, two different things. A lot of difference. Number five, that was number five. Number six, encourage education and a long lifetime of learning. Encourage your children to read. Have a discussion about a book that is about creating wealth, is about positivity, is about being inspired, not looking for excuses, but being inspired and motivated. Number seven, Promote an ownership mindset through business, through real estate, through stocks, through investment. Promote ownership. Let them know that it ain't okay to rent the same place for 10 years and not try to buy. Because in that 10 years, what you've done is, think about it this way. Why are you buying somebody else, paying for somebody else's house when you could be paying for your own house? So renting should be temporary. Ownership should be permanent. That should be the goal. All right? Teach your children about financial responsibility and generosity. It ain't all about the money. Money can do a lot of things, but you have to teach your children to have a giving spirit as well. Number 9, build confidence through setting goals. And I can't say that enough. If you don't have a goal, you got an excuse. But when you have a goal is a dream with a date on it. If you don't have a written goal, please do not go to sleep without writing down a goal. And I try to have goals in 5 categories. All right? So it's very, very, very important. Number 10, which is the last one, create a legacy of knowledge and long-term planning. It's okay if your kids, if you say, when I retire, and they're like, so mom and dad, what is retirement? And why are you going to do that? Why are you going to wait to do that when you retire? Why are you going to wait to travel when you're 80 years old? You're going to be real old then. Why are you saving everything for when you retire? It's a conversation, and sometimes it may make a light bulb go off. Your excuse shouldn't be, I'm waiting because that's when I'll have the money, because likely you got to look at a lot of factors. Will you have the health? Can you physically travel? And then if you're 80 or 85 years old, how long more are you think that you're going to be living alive and able to enjoy your money? So live with balance, plan with your family, and live with balance, and do some of the things while you are on the journey. All right? So that's what I had for you tonight. And I added a little more because, like I said, I heard 2 sermons today, and I had already started my notes, and it really confirmed that it was what I needed to share with you tonight. And I do see a lot of comments, and I'm going to read them offline. Pastor Jamal says, love that. Goal is a dream with a date on it. And I'm going to go through and read all your comments, but we're right at 50 minutes, and I didn't want to keep you. I really only wanted to do 45 minutes. I knew I couldn't do it in 30. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And as I said, I am a realtor of 40 years. My partner, my daughter, Tiffany, has been licensed for 27 years. And as a matter of fact, we were out shopping and met 2 of our clients from in the 1990s in the same store. All right. And I believe one bought in 1992 and the other one bought in 1999. And 27 years later, she was the person ringing us up at the cash register. And Tiffany said, I know you from somewhere. And we kept talking and talking. And, and in both instances, they recognized both of us, and we got reacquainted. So you're never too old to do certain things. And as I said, I wanted to bring this to you, and a lot of things got added on, but I do appreciate y'all coming on each Sunday for minimum of 30 minutes. And Have a good night. Let the fireworks explode, but no more excuses. Let go of the excuses and grab a hold to what's going to pull you up, not take you down, because that's what excuses do. Have a good night. Have a good life. In fact, have $1 million life. Good night.